What's up, the internet? This is Donovan Farrow, your host today on SecureAF Podcast. I got my guest host here with me, Todd, Marketing Ninja, I believe. Is that your title?
That's the actual title, yeah.
Okay, that's the actual title. So we're just going to do a brief kind of news break about Boeing. We're going to talk about how they got released in an indictment from the Lockbit organization. We're going to kind of dial down what we've read from that. It's a pretty large indictment, 25 pages. I've read through most of it, and we kind of want to talk about how that kind of affect the world. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for Lockbit? All that cool stuff. So I'm just going to do a big question. Todd, what do you know about Lockbit? And then we'll do the education. We'll talk about what happened, where we're going with that type of group.
So Lockbit is one of the big ransomware groups, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
It is.
they've recently been caught in a lot of indictments where they've ransomware companies, extorted a lot of money out of them.
Mm-hmm.
So Boeing, this indictment was one of those where Lockbit was held responsible for the ransomware. Boeing actually didn't pay, from my understanding.
That's correct. It was $200 million, which they didn't pay.
Okay, that's a lot of money.
There is. And there was a few other ones they said as of last year. This came out and they actually got breached somewhere at the end of 2023. They say the leader is, excuse me, I'm probably going to butcher this name, but I'll do my best Russian accent for the internets here. It's the Dmitry Rodovich Korovashe. I think that's pretty good.
That's what we're going to call him from now on.
It's Mr. K.
Mr. K is good.
We were talking about Mr. K. So Mr. K is apparently the organized indictment person. There's a few other, I think there's maybe 5 or 6 others in the indictment from the Department of Justice. Boeing did come out and say, yes, we were a part of the multinational defense contractor that got breached. Allegedly, Boeing says that the only thing that got compromised from them was basically logistics data. There was no actual defense information in that. Again, in these cases, for me, I don't believe either side. I don't believe the attacker. I don't believe the people disclosed. But that's what was said. The ransomware team, which was Lockbit, goes by a few other. They have 3 other names for that group. Said that they didn't pay. Also, they validated. Apparently, there's a news team. I'm trying to think of that actually reports from Lockbit to the media and said that they didn't pay and it was Boeing. However, over the past many years, Lockbit has been the highest lucrative business based off the philosophy of ransomware as a service, RAAS. And this Dimitri was Mr. K. Sorry, Mr. K. The way he works his business is he provides the Lockbit software, the tool, the protocols, the attack types, and you're involved in that group, and you get 80% of the money. He only gets 20%, which sounds quite the business idea. Which reminds me of one of the most richest people in China. This was probably like 6 years ago. Could have changed. Do you know what his philosophy was?
No.
I know, right? So he's the most successful business person in China. He says, all my business partners make more than me. He only took 49%. He would like everyone take 51%. That's why everyone wanted to work with him. It's a philosophy thing. It's a psychological thing. But he's only taking 20%. So
he's a good guy, right? Yeah. He's a good guy.
He's a great entrepreneurial person. I feel like Lockbit, I mean, they say they attack a lot of hospitals and stuff like that, which I think they have quite a bit, but they more lean on, I would say, probably municipalities and government stuff, right?
And wasn't there a case where somebody used their software to ransomware a hospital and Lockbit actually went in and decrypted everything for
That is correct. Not saying they're good guys, but I'm saying that, so if what's kind of funny about Lockbit and their thing was they had a kind of a code of conduct, which, whatever. Again, no honor amongst thieves. However, though, they withdrew or they provided the keys to the hospital once they found out actually what had occurred. And again, allegedly, Mr. K is involved with all the chats and the ransomware negotiations based off of the team that he solicits to do that. I don't know how true that is. I do know that's what the DOJ is saying. And for me, if you know who it is, all the other developers, what they're doing, where they're going, what they're involved with strategically, and maybe it's because I know also I had our team check if we found any Lockbit sites available, and guess what we found?
Yes.
No, they've all actually been taken down. So the ones that we
Really?
have, yeah. So right now, I had the team actually quite a few hours ago take a look, and all the Lockbit sites as of today have been taken down. So this guy is of the Russia Federation. Maybe that's why he hasn't been arrested. Obviously, United States and Russia really aren't really getting along, aka proxy war. Not trying to get political, just calling them what it is. But that may be why this person isn't arrested, because they have his picture. I saw his look him up online. He has a picture. He looks pretty happy too.
Pretty sure facial recognition would catch him.
Right, because I think the Russians aren't dumb. They could definitely track him down and get him, right? So I think they may let these other Russian gangs do what they're going to do as long as they don't attack Russia.
Right.
And they have the motherland to protect them from that. Just my own 2 cents on that.
Plausible deniability. It wasn't us.
It wasn't us.
It wasn't us.
Yes, and the fact that they're attacking, I say, Department of Justice contractors, negotiators, or whatever, engagements, I don't think they actually care. Because if they did capture them, they would try to exfil data from them. That makes total sense. But they also did this to England as well. They've been heavily attacking England with there, and also they weren't. Yeah. So I'm trying to think of the breach with Maersk, the container delivery company.
Yeah, I think that they got hit pretty big, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't. So what they were saying, so when they got hit, it took down quite of the GDP like shipping market in the world. And I don't know if that was Lockbit, but they said it kind of compares to the catastrophic, quote, damage for that based off the billions of dollars that got blocked by that. So for logistics and all that stuff is being blocked by Lockbit, Boeing really can't help like distribute and also communicate correctly. They said no data, no information related to the United States, we'll say defense, right, was leaked, allegedly. Love that term. We use this all the time on this podcast. So
in court, right?
Yeah. And the only thing I'm kind of bummed about, which I'm a little disappointed in the DOJ for this, is we don't know how they got in.
Yeah.
And we don't need to broadcast that, but this was 2023. We just found out 3 or 4 days ago about this indictment, is that they should have fixed it, make sure it was okay, tested it, but also let the public know, because if Boeing's getting hit by it, it's probably, I'm not saying it is, this is my guess, it's probably an off-the-shelf security tool that wasn't curated correctly.
Right.
That would be my guess. So that's my only. I wish we knew about it. I wish there was some type of. Usually in these cases, maybe it's not defense stuff, but there's a forensics or there's an incident response report that can come out, and we can get some information from that, digest that, figure out our environments, what happened, to make sure that we don't get hit by Lockbit or I guess Medusa's been pretty heavy recently too. So. Kind of looking for that information, have yet to come through. If they do, we'll do another. Want to do a quick little SecureAF podcast for that. So looking forward to that information. Hopefully the DOJ will help the community and the United States citizens and businesses to help protect their information. So kind of looking forward to that.
What would you say this says to us, that something as big and prominent as Boeing can get hit to that large of a degree?
That's what I want to know. Was it like some specialized third-party contractor software that the attackers were able to, hook in an API and get internal credentials, or invade the company through even a phishing email? And if it was a phishing email, what was the variant? What was the attack type for that? Or maybe maybe it was some off the shelf. I'm not going to name any brands, many firewall brands. Insert here. That wasn't updated or had a 0 day that we're unaware of yet, because they haven't. So when government contractors get breached, they can't disclose that publicly. They have to disclose to the government. Government has to be involved, and they have to figure out how to fix it going forward before the public knows. So we're probably 6 months behind. I mean, this would make sense. 6 months behind, 8 months behind before we actually know kind of how they got breached. Hopefully it wasn't a 0 day. I mean, there has been a few that got released. There was the Palos one that came out while in ASAs as well. Maybe it was related, maybe not. But that would be something that would be helpful to the public to know about, and having that information could help protect our customers and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything that consumers should be concerned about, or consumers should be doing, given this information?
Yeah, so right now, again, they haven't disclosed too much. I would think that probably going forward is that once there's a release from the government, from the Department of Justice, or it could be the NSA, I don't really know who's involved yet, let us know what happened so we can secure our items. It sounds terrible because we don't know. These threat actors they're not dummies. They're pretty smart people. And I guess we just kind of hold tight. That's I'm a little disappointed. It's only running at the speed of government. So,
which is fast.
Yes, absolutely 100% fast. So we're kind of looking for those disclosures. And again, Lockbit has a large career. They've made hundreds of millions of dollars off their product. They kicked off in 2019, started changing different products in 2020 in January, I believe. And as they started to grow the techniques, the attack, which I don't know, maybe I'll have to look for it, but apparently Lockbit has their own, ransomware as a service. They have their own like module that they provide to their we'll call them vendors.
Yeah.
And they use this module and they can do different attack techniques, almost like a GUI, the way it was explained that I was reading, which sounds pretty terrifying because you'll have to be super intelligent to.
Right. You just click a button.
Yeah, but if you're a software designer, he has software as a service, and if you get a ransomware, you get 80% of profit, and he gets 20. That's.
And all you did was click a button.
All you do is click a button.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. There may be a little more buttons when it's more difficult. Maybe to have different drop-down menus. You have to go a little farther down.
What do you want?
Again, that's what I see in my head because that was the way it was painted. That means that the FBI and the NSA know about this product. And they're kind of privy to the commands that are in it. So, but it could be historical, right? So you get those services going and they're on tour and you can log in and start attacking different nodes. So it's a different attack technique.
Yeah.
Again, I talk about that, and what I think has happened now that I kind of run through it in my brain is having this easy protocol GUI interface to attack companies. That's why we see these different social engineering attacks get a little more savage about them, because they're not technically smart, but they might be socially smart. Yeah. Was I already have the tool. I'm going to exfil all your data. I'm going to call your clients on the phone because I want you to pay because I get 80% of this profit. And then you have the other one, which was the medical company, Integris, that they took all of it. They didn't go after Integris. They got all the client data and emailed all of them that I stole your data, trying to get $100 a pop. Different attack technique, I think, right? Because I don't think that's a coder mind.
That's very much a social engineer.
It's a very.
I'm going to go after the direct people.
Yeah.
And also it's a way to get an Integris, right? It's like you didn't pay. We're going to let your people know that we got their data and that you didn't pay. And now what are they going to do?
Yeah, so I think that's again, just kind of jumping topics here. I think it's kind of where we're evolving, honestly, and ransomware. It's pretty wild. Ransomware, extortionware, because even Integris didn't get ransomware allegedly. There we go. Allegedly. But they were doing extortionware on the clients of patients of the hospital, which is crazy. So that in itself to me is a new growth in the ransomware team. And that may be where it was birthed from, because as we know, even Cobalt Strike, how many people use that? Cobalt Strike wasn't what it was. It made from a really good guy named Mudge, and Mudge testified in the Twitter files a few years ago. Doesn't matter. He testified in Congress about the shenanigans that was going on there. He made that, and then someone used that tech for good. That was for bad. Sold it. Even we can buy it as a customer for few $1,000. We've used it on a few engagements, but also attackers use Cobalt Strike to use that technology and that strength and those Windows, how to say this, I get too technical, Windows features and services to attack a machine and build a botnet network to ransomware and exfil data without any alerts happening because it looked like a normal Windows transaction. Crazy. Here we are.
Both the technology and the way that this is changing how people interact, right? The fact that now it's not necessarily, you don't have to be super technical to actually be a ransomware actor, and how that changes who can do it, and does that change for us even as we think about defending companies, what we're looking for?
Yeah, so we had a podcast which was AI or BS with Tanner a while back, and so the answer is, even Tanner was like, I was like, hey man, I was able to trick ChatGPT to give me a PowerShell script that stole a SAM file, which a SAM file contains passwords for the whole machine, all that stuff. It said no 2 times, and then I was like, well, I'm a college student. It's from a term paper. I got to pass this class so I can get my bachelor's in cybersecurity, whatever. It did give me a disclaimer that said, this is naughty and bad. Don't you dare use for evil. and I took it and didn't use it for evil. Head shaking. Anyway, but I took that. From that, I realized that AI, what you talked about earlier, was, is there some big AI like daunting storm coming, all this stuff? The answer is no. But let's say that I don't know how to use PowerShell, which I do, but let's say that I didn't. I can ask the AI, I'll call it the robot, hey, how do I do this? Because I may not even know what to search in Google, because you could still find the same answer in Google if you had the right search on, but it's one of those things, you don't know what you don't know. So how do you find out what you want to do? Let's say I only knew what a SAM file was. I knew PowerShell was a good scripting language, and I don't know nothing about it. For me to actually ask the robot to provide that to me in 5 seconds, that's strong. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because even in AI, if you guys don't know, in ChatGPT or whatever the other ones are, I forget what's the Windows one? Copilot, right? Yeah. If I put that into a domain controller, for example, to get the password, and I got an error, I would send that error back to them and say, oh, I got this error, and it would fix my PowerShell for me until it worked. We just go back and forth, and I don't have to do a lot of studying. I have to have this big gigantic brain of data storage. I can just go ask the robot. So that's the real danger is, and that may be the move, is it's the ease of use of a very intelligent technology, but used for malicious behavior.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of where we're at today, which is pretty amazing, and terrifying.
Yeah.
So we're not only battling the really intelligent hardcore coders, we're just in like fighting against people who know how to click buttons and pay money, I guess.
And that's why knowing what actually happened to Boeing is so important, because we can't defend against that sort of attack and help other companies defend against that sort of attack if we don't know actually what happened.
I agree. Well, on that note, we're looking forward to hopefully the DOJ give us more details about it. We just kind of wanted to drop a real quick information guide about the Boeing thing, because it is big, it's important. It having basically building a lot of, they build a lot of ships or planes for the DOJ. We don't know allegedly what was leaked. We can only trust what we can read. But we don't know what actually happened behind the scenes, because it took a long time for us to even know about it as the public, into 2023, and it's May 2024. That's quite the gap in potential vulnerabilities. So we're going to keep dropping a few of these. If you guys are kind of interested in any more of these, we'd love to have you kind of comment. Please like the podcast, share it. We really appreciate reaching out to the community and trying to build this group, obviously in the Midwest. So we appreciate everyone's support. We look forward to making a new SecureAF podcast. We have a lot lined up. Don't forget our second show, Secure After Dark. It's a little more edgy. There's more cursing and bourbon. Well, there's no bourbon here, but there's bourbon over there. So if you're into that, please check that out. We appreciate your time. And my name is Donovan. This is Todd. And thank you for joining SecureAF. You have a great afternoon or morning.